Hello and welcome to the April 6, 2025 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're investing in this. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in on YouTube. That's right, we are streaming exclusively on YouTube. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we're bombarded with on a daily basis with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like goodnewsnetwork.org and goodgoodgood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Hello, everyone. It's a wonderful day. An absolutely wonderful day. Ooh, why is everything not pulling up? That was odd. There it goes. Hello, Becky. So, News Brew for tonight is going to be an absolutely fantastic one. Let me scoot this over. There we go. Thank you very much, Joe. So, our News Brew for tonight is Tiramisu Midnight Snack, and the art on this from Abomination Brewing Company is absolutely just horrifying nightmare fuel. So Tiramisu Midnight Snack. This is a 14% ABV high octane Imperial Stout, and it is brewed with mascarpone, ladyfingers, whipped cream, coffee, and cacao nibs, just like tiramisu should be made out of most of those ingredients. So I am brutally Italian, and this is the dessert for me. We don't need a Balisong bottle opener because it's a can, so we'll blow the gain on the audio. Thank you very much, Becky. I really appreciate that. Now it is an Imperial Stout, so we are going to use the Harpoon Limited Edition Snifter. And we'll get into the theatrics. Oh my gosh. This is as dark as my worst nightmares. Oh my, this is a dark beer. Hey Tim, thank you very much. Wow, even the head on this is dark. Oh, and it smells divine. Divine evil darkness. I picked this beer up from Siciliano's, and if you are on our Instagram, if you follow our Instagram, on Thursdays you'll actually see I will post a sneak peek of the News Brew and where I got it. So if you want to drink along with me, by all means, you can check out the places that I go to pick up beer and hopefully have a News Brew with me. So, hey Julie, thank you very much. Still deep cleaning the cove. Very cool, Julie. And yes, there is a Squishmallow that has appeared. Strange. I wonder who got that for me. I think it was Producer Donna. Thank you, Producer Donna, for the new Godzilla Squishmallow. Because I am a fiend for everything Godzilla related. Okay, shoutouts. I have amazing friends, family, and fans, and I want to thank you all so very much for being in my life. Cheers to you all and all the goodness that you bring, everyone. Thank you. Oh, my, that beer is... Oh, that beer. That's a good beer. Oh my gosh. That is delectable. That is a dessert stout. Through and through. Oh my gosh. That's going to be a good one tonight. A strong one, but a good one. Next shout out. Family Craft Farm is a cutflower, microgreens, and produce farm located in Ravenna, Michigan. On the farm, they're all about cultivating a sustainable lifestyle, and they're proud to share with their growing family and community. They believe in providing high quality, clean, unique products designed with sustainability and quality, and only partner with companies who put the Earth's and people's health first for their products. There are links in the description for Family Craft Farm and the produce that they create. And they are fantastic. So to Family Craft Farm, cheers. Lastly, a huge shout out to going to the 5.2 million people who exercised their right to speak out and protest during the nationwide event that happened yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean April 5th of 2025. The next national hands-off protest is scheduled for April 19th, 2025. If you'd like to exercise your civil rights, or any of your rights, by all means, April 19th, 2025 will be the next date of a national hands-off protest. So, to everybody involved for exercising their rights, cheers. News quote, because we're not going to forget it this time. Stay afraid, but do it anyway. What's important is the action. You don't have to wait to be confident. Just do it, and eventually the confidence will follow. And that quote comes from Carrie Francis Fisher, who is an American actress and writer and an inspirational icon for all. Carrie Fisher, for many of us, best known for her roles in the Star Wars films, playing as Princess Leia Organa. That quote, stay afraid, but do it anyway. What's important is the action. You don't have to wait to be confident. Just do it, and eventually the confidence will follow. Many of you know, I was a non-traditional student. I went back to school, I went back to college in 2016, got my engineering degree, and I was full of self-doubt at that time. I did not know how to pull that trigger to go back to school and get my degree. And one day, I just did. I made a phone call, and then I followed through. And I don't think I was ever confident in my capabilities until I got my piece of paper that's on the wall right up there and this ring. I think I doubted myself every step of the way, and only when I got a chance to look back and see that I had done it did it finally set in that I can do it. So that right there, stay afraid, but do it anyway. What's important is the action of doing that thing. You don't have to wait to be confident. Just do it, and eventually the confidence will follow. And I guarantee you I have lived that, and it does. So to Carrie Fisher, thank you very much, ma'am. Julie in the chat, I do that all the time. That quote. Cheers to you, Julie. Bug update. I don't know how well the mic's going to pick it up, because it was picking it up earlier when I was testing things, but it doesn't seem to be now. We'll see what happens. I am being tormented. I picked up some feeders for Sue and Ripley, and by feeders I mean feeder insects. Specifically some tropical house crickets, as they tend to be a very healthy feeding option for my more hardy arthropods. Tropical house crickets are different from your run-of-the-mill house crickets. If you look at them, they're sometimes called a banded house cricket because they have a very distinct band around their midsection. And they tend to be much more they tend to be healthier, and they don't get a disease that other house crickets carry. And that disease is actually what led to the death of one of my mantises a few years back. So I don't feed mantises crickets anymore because of that, and because they're not the best feeders. There are better options for mantises. But for bugs like Sue and Ripley, and Matilda when she wakes up eventually, crickets are okay. So I picked some up. I put some in Sue and Ripley's vivariums, and the rest in a feeder vivarium, which is right here on the ground by me. It's a new feature. I took a bunch of feeders like superworms, mealworms, some isopods, and some springtails, my cleaning crew, and I put them in this little vivarium down here. It's nice and warm in there. It's nice and humid. And so I can add the cleanup crews as they multiply to other vivariums as I make them, but I can also have a place to store my feeders. So I put the leftover crickets in there, figured I'll plump them up, I'll be able to feed them, they'll be nice and healthy, and then I can feed them to Sue and Ripley and Matilda. He's chirping right now. I don't know if the mic is picking him up, though. He's going right now. So it turns out that one of the crickets is quite the singer. Or Elmira, thank you. Jeez, did I say Ripley twice? I meant Elmira when she wakes up. Not Matilda. Yep, thank you. Thank you. My bad. So that cricket's been going nonstop since early Saturday when I picked him up. Apparently he's very happy in there, and he wants to serenade everything, including me. When Sue is done with his current round of crickets, that cricket's going in Sue's home, because Sue will deal with my problem for me. Mantis McLeod is A-okay with that plan, by the way. He's nice and fat and plump. I don't think he's... Oh, he is visible. The camera doesn't pick it up well, but if you look right here, you'll see this little thing hanging down. That's Mantis McLeod. He's actually watching me right now. He's right there, and he's looking right at me. He's looking right at everyone. That's cool. I've never noticed him back there during a broadcast. But yeah, he's out and about. Probably to say hi. Oh, sorry, I'm a little stuffy. What's up, buddy? He's just chilling. He's just chilling and staring like, what's going on over there? He's volunteering to take care of the cricket issue from producer Donna. If only. All right, let's get into our broadcast. Our Good News broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles we like to end on. We are going to start in category 1, science and technology, and we call this first one Lunar Dustbuster. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Stop chirping, you son of a... NASA proves its electric moon dust shield works on the lunar surface. This was posted to space.com on April 3rd of 2025 by Julianne Dossett. New shielding technology from NASA that protects against damaging lunar dust just passed a trial run on the moon's surface, marking an important milestone in the agency's lunar aspirations. The Electrodynamic Dust Shield, or the EDS, flew aboard Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost, the first privately funded lunar lander to make a fully successful touchdown on the moon. After Blue Ghost's historic landing on March 2nd, the EDS demonstrated the ability to remove lunar dust and dirt, known as regolith, from surfaces, using electrodynamic forces. The successful test concluded on March 16th. NASA has big plans for the moon via its Artemis program, which aims to set up 1 or more lunar bases in the next decade or so. But regolith presents a significant issue for lunar hardware, spacesuits, and human lungs, because the dust is so abrasive. So the shield technology passing this recent test is good news, the agency said. This milestone marks a significant step towards sustaining long-term lunar and interplanetary operations by reducing dust-related hazards to a variety of surfaces for space applications, ranging from thermal radiators, solar panels, and camera lenses to spacesuits, boots, and helmet visors, NASA wrote in a statement. The EDS was originally derived from the electrostatic curtain concept, which F.B. Tatum and NASA collaborators dreamed up back in 1967. That's awesome. The EDS uses electrodes and electric fields to remove dust from the surface of objects. It was developed at Kennedy Space Center in Florida using funding from NASA's Game-Changing Development Program. The shielding technology was tested in vacuum chambers, where it was used to remove lunar dust samples brought home by NASA's Apollo missions. The first time EDS was tested in space was on the International Space Station during the Materials International Space Station Experiment, or the MISSE-11 mission in 2019. The EDS technology is paving the way for future dust mitigation solutions, supporting NASA's Artemis campaign and beyond, NASA officials said in the release. Becky, thank you for sharing. That is really cool. So, moon dust. As we are getting into a time when we are looking to go back to the moon and to put people on it again, we are finding that lunar dust is horribly abrasive. It is terrible. Like Anakin Skywalker complaining about sand. It gets everywhere, and it's itchy. I don't know the exact quote, but it's something like that. Moon dust is the same, so we need solutions that are going to scrub moon dust off of surfaces to not have them wear down over time, especially because, the moon is kind of harsh. Not having an atmosphere will do that to you. So, this is really cool. Cheers to Blue Ghost successfully landing that test, and to NASA for designing it and getting it up and running. So to everybody involved, cheers. Oh my gosh, this beer is amazing. All right, this next one we called Wind Waste to Thermal Paste. Plastic paste. I was thinking of thermal paste in computers earlier. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Ooh, camera was shaking a little bit there. U.S. scientists recycle wind turbine blades to make 3 times stronger plastic. This was posted to Interesting Engineering back on April 4th of 2025, and it was posted by Rigakshi Dixit. I hope I got their name right. I probably butchered it. If I did, I apologize. Wind energy is booming, but there are problems too. The huge wind turbines are made up of glass fiber reinforced polymer, or GFRP, which presents a tough recycling challenge once they've served their purpose. But now, researchers at Washington State University have developed a new environmentally friendly method to recycle wind turbine blades. This process, which avoids harsh chemicals, recovers high-strength glass fibers and resins that can be used to create durable plastics. This recycling method is scalable, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly, providing a sustainable solution for reusing large quantities of glass fiber reinforced waste, said Jinwen Zhang, corresponding author and a professor in the School of Mechanical and Materials Engineering. The existing recycling methods struggle with GFRP, a thermoset material that's difficult to break down. In this new work, the wind turbine blade GFRP material was recycled by cutting it into small pieces. The team then soaked it in a safe salt solution of zinc acetate under heat and pressure to break it down, using the resulting components to create stronger plastics. Awesome. Sorry. They successfully extracted undamaged glass fibers and resins from wind turbine blades. The scientists then incorporated these materials, up to 70% recycled glass fibers, into thermoplastics, creating stronger composite materials. Very cool. It works very well, especially considering the mild conditions that we applied. The solvent is a green solvent, and also the temperature is acceptable for this purpose, said Cheng Hao, a former graduate student in the School of Mechanical and Materials Engineering, and co-first author on the paper. Interestingly, adding recycled glass fibers and resins from wind turbine blades to nylon plastic significantly increased its strength over 3 times and its stiffness over 8 times. Also, it was discovered that this recycled material can strengthen other common plastics like polypropylene and those used in milk jugs and shampoo bottles. As long as we can break the cross-linked network into smaller pieces and they are melt processable, we can compound that with nylon and get a new composite. We are not separating the resin from the fiber. We just blend everything with nylon and get a new composite, explained Baoming Zhao, co-first author and research assistant professor in the Composite Materials and, say it with me, Engineering Center. GFRP is hard to recycle because it's a thermoset material, as compared to easily recyclable thermoplastics like those in milk bottles. Thermosets are cured and cannot be melted down and reformed, making it difficult to break them down into reusable components. Right now, I think if we want to get thermoset materials, we have to use like really powerful caustic chemicals, and it is a process to get anything back from a thermoset. So this is pretty cool. The difficult to recycle glass fiber reinforced material constitutes about 2/3 of blade weight and also generates a 15% material waste during the manufacturing process. Wind turbines built in the 1990s are now becoming obsolete, presenting a major disposal problem. The accumulation of discarded wind turbine blades is projected to become a massive environmental concern, with annual waste reaching 2.9 million tons by 2050 and a total of 43 million tons accumulated. Now, mind you, that may not be taking into account other initiatives that we've already shown on Nix News, such as transforming wind turbine blades into structural materials, such as bridges. So, the 2.9 million tons might be an estimate that's simply based on if we do nothing with these obsolete blades. But right now, we have several different competing methods going on for breaking down or just reusing spent wind turbine blades, and it is awesome. Hey, Charlie. And thank you very much. That's why there's an urgent need to find sustainable ways to take care of the growing waste. As wind energy grows, recycling and reusing wind turbine waste is becoming increasingly urgent, added Zhang in a press release. So that is really cool. Researchers are refining their recycling process to require less pressure, making it simpler. They're also working to create future wind turbine blades that are inherently fully recyclable. And that is awesome. These findings were published in the journal Resource Conservation and Recycling, and there is a link in the article if you want to go read it. So to everybody involved at Washington State University, finding out new ways to break down GFRP and spent wind turbines. Cheers. Hi, Athena. We are being broadcast from a PlayStation. Awesome. Where did my sheet go? There it is. All right, so that's going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. And this first article we called Seeding Healthy Living. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. And if you are catching the replay, all of our articles are in the descriptions of our videos, so you can go and click through and read them at your leisure. Growing and sharing seeds can boost mental health. This was posted to positive.news, and it was posted on March 31st of 2025 by Alexa Phillips. Storing and sharing seeds has clear environmental benefits, but new findings suggest they can bring about well-being wins too. During 15 years of working on community food projects, Catherine Howell noticed something. As well as the biodiversity benefits of saving and sharing seeds, there seemed to be a positive impact on the growers themselves. To test her hypothesis, Howell set up a pilot project as part of the Gaia Foundation's Seed Sovereignty Program, which she helps to coordinate. 15 people who were experiencing challenges with their mental well-being took part, meeting fortnightly throughout 2024 in 3 groups across Middlesbrough, Stockton-on-Tees, and Hinderwell. Sorry. Participants produced a crop of their choice and harvested the seed. Hello, Queen of Nerds. Each session began with a mental health check-in, and at the beginning and end of the course, I apologize. Sorry, my allergies have been getting to me a little bit. All right. Each session began with a mental health check-in, and at the beginning and end of the course, participants were asked to score their mental well-being. Despite many facing significant challenges across the year, the average score had risen by 6%, with the biggest increases in those who had felt lowest initially. One participant's score went from 2 out of 5 to 4 out of 5, which they attributed to learning something new in a friendly environment. The project was small, and the uptick's light, but it's backed up by a scientific study published by Canadian researchers in December, which found that community seed saving has positive impacts on health and well-being. Let me see if this quote shows up. Yep, this quote shows up later. Larissa Papril took part. She grew yard-long beans, which had been a staple in her late mother's cooking. I would watch it grow like it was my own baby, she says. I always came out of the polytunnels happy. Author Kathy Slack, whose new memoir, Rough Patch, explores how growing vegetables helped her recover from burnout and depression, was unsurprised by the connection. Sowing a seed is an act of hope, she says. Not to be overly dramatic about it, but when you're wondering whether it's worth even bothering to stick around anymore, planting a seed is like a promise to your future self. That is powerful. Planting a seed is like a promise to your future self. I love that. Howell continues to support the group and hopes to run another course next year. She asked participants how much the positive change was attributable to growing seed, as opposed to being in the group or being outside. They said, "It's the seed that's made the difference. It was the feeling of the creation of an abundance," said Howell. You can read more about how communities are protecting the future of food at the link in the article. That is awesome, positive news. Fantastic. To Catherine Howell and everybody involved in this small group with the Gaia Foundation Seed Sovereignty Program, showing that growing and sharing seeds can lead to better mental health. Cheers. And I'll tell you what, my mental health is being severely impacted by that cricket. I see that Mantis McLeod has moved on. I can't see him anymore back there. I don't know when he crawled away. All right, we called this next one Stirred, not Shaken. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Stir sticks to detect if your drink is spiked are developed by UBC researchers. This was posted to Global News on March 27th of 2025 by Amy Judd. Researchers at the University of British Columbia have developed a tool to help people determine if their drinks have been spiked. Spikeless, which looks like an ordinary stir stick, is capable of detecting common drink spiking drugs like GHB and ketamine within 30 seconds, potentially preventing assaults. GHB, or gamma-hydroxybutyric acid, and ketamine are tasteless and odorless, so detecting them is nearly impossible. Anywhere there's a bar, clubs, parties, festivals, there's a risk, said Samin Yosefi, a UBC master's student in chemical and biological engineering, and the device's co-inventor. People have tried cups, coasters, straws, even nail polish to detect these drugs. Our device is more discreet than existing alternatives and doesn't contaminate the drink. Spikeless has a chemical-coated bioplastic tip that changes color when it detects drugs in any drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. It is a single-use tool, but can be used anywhere. The tool still requires approval from Health Canada. The UBC researchers hope that Spikeless will become available at venues rather than the onus being placed on individuals to provide the tool. Prevention has often focused on individuals, but research and long-standing community health practices show us that these approaches don't work. Sasha Santos, a subject matter expert with more than 20 years background in public health, education, and violence prevention, who advised the team, said in a statement, Spikeless was conceptualized in 2011 by Dr. Johann Foster, Associate Professor of Chemical and Biological Engineering, and his brother Andrew. Over the last 3 years, Foster, Yosefi, and their collaborators have developed a prototype at UBC, and are now preparing for real-world testing while launching a startup to scale production. That is awesome. A simple stir stick that with 30 seconds, can detect GHB, ketamine, and a ton of other drugs that are used to spike drinks to everybody involved in the production of these for the safety of others. Cheers. Becky in the chat, don't they have nail polish that does that too? Yes, they do. I think one of the problems that they were having with the nail polish is contamination. Effectively, it's going to leach nail polish into your drink, so if it's not spiked, you're not going to be drinking that because now there's nail polish in your drink. I would have to go back and double check that. But I know that it was effective at detecting if GHB or ketamine or other drugs of that nature had been put into a drink. So other methods, too, are coming online. But I do like them suggesting that the venues could have these on hand and use them. That takes the need off of people and puts it on the business to make sure that their patrons are safe. So I'm actually a fan of that. I really like that. All right, so that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We are going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. First article that we've got, step aside, wisdom, mommy's in town. If you're not familiar with some of our previous episodes or the articles within, we have had several articles about Wisdom, an albatross who's like 70 or 80. Producer Donna will check me on how old Wisdom is, but she is a very old seabird, and she is a cougar of sorts. She has successfully reared chicks for several years. She just reared another chick with a new mate who is much younger than her. Wisdom is 73 years old, says producer Donna. Now keep that in mind. Wisdom is 73. But now there's a new champion, and we are going to copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. "97-year-old Galapagos tortoise becomes first-time mom. Mommy is the oldest first-time mother of her species." This was posted to Popular Science on April 4th of 2025 by Andrew Paul. Wisdom turned 74 from Mona. Hello, Mona, and thank you for that update. So Wisdom is 74, and Mommy is 97. At 97 years old, Mommy is the Philadelphia Zoo's oldest resident. But despite her name, the critically endangered Galapagos tortoise has only just become a mother and set a world record in the process. According to the zoo's April 3rd announcement, Mommy and her nonagenarian partner Abrazo recently welcomed 4 new hatchlings into the world. Prior to their new tiny tortoises, Mommy and Abrazo were 2 of only 44 Western Santa Cruz giant tortoises in U.S. zoos. Mommy is now one of the most genetically valuable tortoises in the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, or the AZA, species survival plan, and the oldest first-time mother of her kind. Mommy arrived at the zoo in 1932, meaning anyone that has visited the zoo for the last 92 years has likely seen her, said Philadelphia Zoo President and CEO Joel Mogerman. Philadelphia Zoo's vision is that those hatchlings will be part of a thriving population of Galapagos tortoises on our healthy planet 100 years from now. The Galapagos once hosted 15 unique tortoise species across 7 of its islands. After centuries of human exploitations, 2 of the 15 species are now extinct, while the rest range from critically endangered to vulnerable. Galapagos tortoises are the largest tortoises in the world, with males regularly weighing 500 pounds, and the females averaging about half that. The cold-blooded reptiles spend a couple hours each day sunbathing and another 8 to 9 hours either snacking or shuffling around at their famously slow pace. Their laid-back lifestyle and genetics, as well as a lack of native predators, allow Galapagos tortoises to regularly reach 100 to 200 years of age. It took multiple attempts for Mommy to reach the milestone moment. Sorry. She has laid 3 clutches since 2023, none of which resulted in viable eggs. In November of 2024, she laid 16 billiard ball-sized eggs that she then buried in the sand. Galapagos tortoise sex is determined by the temperature at which they incubate. Anything from 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit results in anything below 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit results in males, while anything above 85.1 degrees Fahrenheit produces females. To help guide the chances for genetic diversity, for increased genetic diversity, the zoo's reptile and amphibian team made sure to residuate. Sorry. Man, my allergies are really getting me. I gotta wet my whistle. There we go. To help guide the chances for increased genetic diversity, the zoo's reptile and amphibian team made sure to residuate Mommy's clutch so that half would be male and half would be female if they all hatched. Individual eggs can take anywhere from 4 to 8 months to hatch, and the first of the new quartet arrived on February 27th, and there is a picture of it, and it is adorable. This is a monumental achievement for our animal care team that worked diligently to provide the right conditions for Mommy to lay her eggs and for the eggs to incubate and successfully hatch, said Lauren Augustine, the Philadelphia Zoo's Director of Herpetology and Birds. Until now, Mommy's genes were not represented in the AZA population, making these offspring extremely important in the protection of this species. The 4 hatchlings will spend the next few weeks under the care and observation of the zoo's team of experts before making their public debut on April 23rd. Visitors will have at least 5 years to swing by and say hello before they potentially move to different facilities, where they will hopefully help usher in more generations of the critically endangered animal. To the Philadelphia Zoo and to Mommy, a first-time mother at 97 years of age, cheers. Much love for the tortoise. All right, we called this next one the Tiny Nose Nose. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Notice the camera's getting jostled around a little bit more than normal. All right. In East Africa, rats have prevented 400,000 new cases of deadliest infection using their super sense of smell. This article was presented on Good News Network on March 31st of 2025 by Andy Corbley. For most people, a rat is at best an unwelcome guest, and at worst the target of immediate extermination. But in a field clinic in Tanzania, rats are colleagues, heroes even. Far from a trash bin dwelling New York City street rat, the African giant pouched rat is docile, intelligent, easier to train than some dogs, and for East Africans, the performer of life-saving tuberculosis diagnoses every day. Now, if that rat looks familiar, if you're looking at the picture of it, that's because they debuted on a previous Nick's News episode, and I believe they were bomb sniffers, or they were searching for landmines. Producer Donna will confirm for me what that previous article was. Hey, Happy. I know, holy cow, right? Big rat finding tuberculosis. But I'm pretty sure on the previous article we had about these rats, these giant pouched rats, they were landmine sniffers. 400,000 new cases of tuberculosis were estimated to have been prevented by these rats, whose sense of smell would make a bloodhound take notice. As the #1 killer among infectious diseases worldwide, many of those 400,000 can be translated into lives saved. Not only are we saving people's lives, but we're also changing these perspectives and raising awareness and appreciation for something as lowly as a rat, said Cindy Fast, a behavioral neuroscientist who coaches the rodents for the nonprofit Apopo. Because our rats are our colleagues and we really do see them, because our rats are our colleagues and we really do see them as heroes. Apopo uses giant pouched rats to sniff out traces of TB in the saliva of patients. In parts of Tanzania, a saliva smear test under a microscope by a human may only be 20 to 40% effective at detecting TB. By contrast, a giant pouched rat like Miss Carolina, a now retired service rat who worked for Apopo for 7 years, raised the rates of TB detection in samples by 40% in the clinic where she worked. It would take 4 days for scientists to analyze the number of samples that Carolina could screen in 20 minutes. For that reason, when Carolina retired last November, a party was thrown at the clinic in her honor, and she was given a cake. TB is sometimes thought of as a thing of the past, a disease for which doctors use to prescribe dry air, leading a modern sense of humor to muse at the antiquated pre-antibiotic medical advice. But it remains the number one cause of death globally from a single infectious pathogen. And Tefera Gizu, a physician and Apopo's head of tuberculosis, told National Geographic that once people see what the nonprofit rodents can do to slow the spread, they fall in love with them. 3,000 times in her career did Carolina detect one of the 6 volatile compounds that can be used to identify Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and she got a hero's send-off to a special compound to live out the rest of her days with her closest friend and sniffer colleague Gilbert, in a shaded enclosure dubbed Rat Florida. We've made special little rat-friendly carrot cakes with little peanuts and things on it that the rat would enjoy, Fast said. Then we all stand around and we clap, and we give 3 cheers, hip hip hooray for the hero, and we celebrate together. It's really a touching moment. Apopo has made headlines for its use of these rats in other life-saving tasks as well. Landmine clearance. There it is. One of the world's great underreported scourges, a lot like TB coincidentally, is landmine contamination. There are 110 million landmines, or unexploded bombs, in the ground right now in about 67 countries, covering thousands of square miles in potential danger. Thousands of civilians are killed or injured by these weapons every year. GNN reported on Apopo's demining efforts using pouched rats back in 2020, and we covered an article about that. One rat named Magawa alone identified 39 landmines and 28 items of unexploded ordnance across an area the size of 20 football fields. If at the start of this story you don't like rats, maybe Magawa and Carolina will have changed your mind. To Miss Carolina and everyone at Apopo for utilizing giant pouched rats for detecting tuberculosis and landmines. Cheers. Alright, so that's going to get us out of flora and fauna. We are going to move on to category 4, wholesome notes. We're going to start off with a watchful eye. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Superhero Project gives families with babies in NICU a lifeline to always have eyes on them. This was posted to CBS News on March 25th of 2025 by Stephanie Stahl and Brad Now. These allergies. The Superhero Project is connecting families with babies in neonatal intensive care units with angel eye cameras, so when the families can't be in the NICU, they can always have eyes on their babies. One Bucks County family knows how important NICU cameras can be, and they're now helping to raise awareness for the nonprofit, which began as a local initiative and has since grown into a national organization touching lives across the country. John is the baby Lauren Walsh is grateful to have. John was so critical when he was born that they didn't even lift him over the sheet for me to see him, Walson said. Walson? Maybe they mean Walsh? I think they mean Walsh and they've got a typo in here. So I saw him just being wheeled out of the operating room. John was born prematurely at 32 weeks and weighed only 1 pound 15 ounces. It was terrifying, Walsh said. John spent 61 days in the NICU at Pennsylvania Hospital. You're always thinking about him, Father Robert Walsh said. You're always wondering how he's doing, how he's progressing. John's parents weren't able to be with him all the time in the NICU, but they were able to watch him. I was able to see John on that camera before I actually met him in person, Lauren Walsh said. That was so amazing for me because not being able to see my baby for 24 hours, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. It's called Angel Eye Camera System, a technology that allows parents to see their babies remotely through their cell phones or laptops. It was extremely comforting because there was not a time that I didn't have John right there on my phone that I could see him, Robert Walsh said. The baby is 9 months old now and at home with the family, who is grateful to have been able to stay connected when he was hospitalized. I had that camera on all the time, Lauren Walsh said. There was no time that my phone was not on that camera, and it was a lifeline for me. The Superhero Project, the main charity of the Philadelphia building trades, provides the lifeline. In tribute to the project, John's siblings dress up like superheroes. You would never know that he's a baby that has faced as many challenges as he had, Lauren Walsh said. He is the happiest. I mean, you will never find a baby that laughs more than John. Lauren Walsh's grandfather was one of the founders of the All-Star Labor Classic, which started 38 years ago. The All-Star Labor Classic, which supports the nonprofit, is coming up in April. That is awesome. To the Superhero Project, installing cameras, Angel Eye camera systems, so that parents can see their children if they have to go to neonatal intensive care units or NICUs. Cheers. Y'all are heroes. Okay. So our last one isn't an article so much as it is an update. There are several links in the description of this video if you want to check out some things related to it. This is an SB Mowing Beth update. This is an ongoing article from a while back that we've been covering, an ongoing situation of sorts, and an amazing situation at that. So if you go to the links in our description, you're going to see the original video from SB Mowing regarding an individual named Beth. You're going to see Spencer's Beth update video. There will be a link for that, and you're also going to see a GoFundMe link for the GoFundMe that was set up for Beth. And producer Donna went through and made a really great write-up of everything that I am going to read now. So, during the January 19th episode of Nick's News, we told you about Spencer with SB Mowing cleaning up around Miss Beth's home for free. Spencer's followers fell in love with Beth and wanted to do more to help her, and they asked Spencer to set up a GoFundMe to pay for some much-needed home repairs. Tonight, we have an update on that. So Miss Beth, a little bit of background. Miss Beth is an elderly woman who has mobility issues and also just quality of life issues that have... sadly, her house was starting to come apart and a lot of other stuff going on. So it was really easy for everybody who saw the first video about Miss Beth to be absolutely smitten with her and want to help out. And how they helped out is incredible. There are over 35,000 amazing people who helped donate to the GoFundMe. As of tonight, April 6, 2025, they have raised nearly $1 million for Beth. The official total currently sits, and producer Donna checked this right before we went live, at $888,578 US. Spencer started the GoFundMe with a $500 donation and a goal of $100,000. The generosity of Spencer's fans blew that goal out of the water. Goal of $100,000 to fix up Miss Beth's home, get her some care that she needed. Nah, we're gonna blow that out. $888,578 raised as of now. In the past couple of months, Spencer has been working with an attorney to get a bank account and a trust fund set up, so the money is protected. With that taken care of, the money was transferred over from the GoFundMe. In his follow-up video, Spencer helped Beth pick out a new bed to replace her 50-year-old queen bed. She chose to downsize to make it easier to make the bed, and to get around in her room. Becky in the chat, wow. Charlie in the chat, 110%. That is awesome. Mattress Hub delivered and set up the new bed and took away her old one. A handyman was hired to repair 2 windows in Beth's home, as well as a few other necessary jobs. Spencer and a couple of Beth's friends organized the basement a bit, moved some of the clutter down and out of the way, and did some cleaning and organizing. They added some security around her home and got her a life alert necklace. Beth wants to stay as independent as possible and can totally understand that. But this way, she's got help at the click of a button if she needs it. Mona in the chat, so amazing. It really is. Beth has a big decision to make in the next couple of weeks. She is debating whether to fix up her current house that she's in, or buy a single-family home in Wichita, Kansas, or move to California, which would bring her closer to family. Spencer has promised to update us in the next month or two with her... Oops, sorry, I bumped the whole table. Spencer has promised to update us in the next month or two with her decision, and everything else that Beth has been up to. It is unbelievable. I don't know if anybody from our chat or from our community went and donated to Miss Beth. If you didn't, the GoFundMe is still active. If you do want to donate a couple of bucks to Miss Beth, that is unbelievable, though. To SB Mowing, to Spencer and his followers and everybody that has donated to get a $100,000 goal to fix up this home to $888,578. Cheers. Those are some real heroes. Wow. That's about it for our broadcast. I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Knicks News YouTube page. We'll have the links up for everything on the Facebook page as normal. Once we have everything uploaded, usually on Mondays. We go through, we do some edits, some cuts, and then we re-upload the video on the YouTube page. And we'll put a link on the Facebook page to go to it. So, again, we're live every Sunday, and our next episode is going to be on April 13th, 2025. Spooky Sunday. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can post suggestions for news brews, for shout-outs, for news quotes, and even good news articles that we can present on future episodes. If you do send a bunch of articles, I appreciate it if you spread them out across our 4 major categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, and plants, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice touchy-feely articles we like to end on. Producer Donna just alerted me that our next episode is on Palm Sunday. If you are practicing in the religion that follows Palm Sunday, it'll be a happy Palm Sunday with good news. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are available for those in all of our descriptions and on all of our sites. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our Facebook and YouTube videos to get good news out into the algorithm, good news and joy out into the algorithm. I can't thank you all enough for everything. I'll never tell you what to do, but man, we have seen we have seen really great growth on both the Facebook and the YouTube page, and I want to keep this going. I want to keep getting our stuff out in the article. I had a friend recently show me that one of our videos just came across her feed on its own. That was awesome. It shows that the algorithm is starting to pick up this Hope Core stuff that we do, this good news. So I can't thank you all enough for every like, every subscription, every share, anything and everything y'all do that continues to grow Nick's News and continues to spread good news and joy to the algorithm. Thank you all so much. Cheers to every single one of you. Charlie saying, Easter falls on 420 and a full moon. Man, that's going to be a lit episode. Werewolf Jesus has the munchies, says producer Donna. All right, as always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.